Hello, everyone, and welcome back. Today we're looking at the Hovercraft Battlefield Robot. The Battlefield Robot Hovercraft was first released in the United States in 1989. It was available in 1990 and unfortunately was discontinued in 1991. Note the antenna, missiles, gun, front and rear dumbbell wheels for the hovercraft are shared with the Devastator and are interchangeable among both vehicles. Additionally, the seat belt is a common part shared with other vehicles as it is interchangeable among them as well. So, looking at everything on yojo.com, which is where we typically start our videos on this, we do have a box art picture of this. And then we go to our schematic, and it notes that this is a 50 caliber. Essentially, this is not much different than a, for lack of better ways to really say it, a hovercraft version of the Devastator. And that's really the way I'm kind of taking this. So we have easily broken and or lost pieces. We have the antenna for the hovercraft is fragile and heavily prone to breakage. Handle this with care if you happen to have it. We do not have a price listed on this, although I think, what was it, six something or maybe three, whatever it was, for the Devastator. I'm going to say it was probably pretty close to that. So, starting off, we don't have a lot of extra pictures or extra stuff to add to the hovercraft, but keep in mind, again, this is another robotic vehicle. So, we'll just kind of add on to there from this point. Okay, so let's bring our hovercraft into our D6 universe here. So, hovercraft, battlefield robot. It's at speeder scale. I'm keeping a lot of it very similar to really the Devastator here. So we're going to keep it at about 15 feet, about 3 meters or so. Actually, I think that's a little off, but anyways, still crew of one, no passengers. Our small cargo capacity, which I think might be a little bit more concerning on this than it is a ground vehicle. Uh, we're going to give a 1/2 coverage. We have our altitude range being the 0 to 3 meters, a maneuverability of 1D plus 2. So, this is, I mean, when you look at the base, it's nothing more than a block, um, which would get the job done in all reality. But, there's not a lot there. Uh, Maneuverability, I think if we keep it the same, I think it's fine. We're still going to have it about 50 miles an hour, treating it kind of like just a ATV kind of vehicle, except it's a hovercraft this time. We have a body strength of 2D. Now, this is at speeder scale, so that keeps us about average. Missiles are, seeing that they're shared missiles, I figured, if the missiles and the guns are really just shared. So I think it's just a quick, kind of a Mars, a Destro's Mars. Let's just have a hovercraft equivalent of this. So same missiles, same guns. So we're still front four missiles, which what we see here. Fire control is 3D plus 2, and 7D for damage for the missiles. And then we have the dual laser cannons. So that's a fire control of 1D, damage is 7D at personnel scale. And this time I did add in here. Now, I kind of cheated a little bit. And I was kind of looking at what Star Wars had done for the droid starfighter. So really, it's kind of copying, kind of like that, except the droid starfighter is actually doing a better AI than what this is. So I do have the crew skill, or actually what I should have it listed as, because I just, why don't, instead of saying crew skill, we'll just have it as droid skill. All right, so droid skill is going to be um, a piloting of 3D plus 1 and a gunnery of 3D plus 1. The droid Starfighter was a 4D+1 out of the Star Wars. I don't know if I would really have this at 4D. You might be better off with the droid actually doing this than some of the kind of figures or kind of low level uh, kind of troopers or whatever. So just throwing it out there. And because it's a droid, and I copied and I put this over to the Devastator that we had done last, um, as I figure if I kept everything on par and just kind of going from there. They're not going to have anything else to these droids, so I didn't think it was worth having a whole big list here. But I figured that would just get it up and going at least enough to run it. If you wanted to have it just go on its own, and just kind of go from there. So, it's the small vehicles, and I think I've heard some comments in some of my other videos and all that for the 6-inch line where people are seeing they wish Hasbro was coming out with more vehicles like this, the small vehicles, the you know instead of the big HasLab vehicles, kind of having geesh, and I can't think of it. I can picture it in my head, but I can't think of it offhand. And I know it's a vehicle that we have done, so it's just. I want to say the Wolverine, but that's not it. And I'm clicking as I go back, trying to see if I can find it here real quick. Like the Devilfish would be wonderful because that's a small vehicle. Um, let's see. We did the Flight Pod already. Um, the Armadillo. That's what I was thinking of. And that's some of the things that I'm hearing other people say in comments to my own videos, which does make a lot of sense to me. Those are the vehicles I think that we should really be seeing. I think a Firebat is something that we should be seeing well before we see the Rattler. Uh, I mean, it's wonderful that they're trying to come out with some of the bigger vehicles, but again, like what one of the comments had said, most people don't have this room that we can have 30-inch long vehicles. So where do we go with this stuff? And now it's just one big set piece, which is why I was trying to get everything into the Lego scale and trying to do stuff out of there for myself. But unfortunately, the figures are cool, and I'm the big kid in me just says, "Hey, this is really cool and neat and everything else," and I just kind of went head deep into it, and here we are. But bringing it all around to be able to throw this stuff out there, it would be kind of nice if they did come out with vehicles like this. So with that, thank you so very much for joining me today. It's wonderful having you stop by. I hope you're having a wonderful day. We'll see you in the next video.